Today's programming is brought to you by DriveSuburban.com. Instant pricing, express checkout.
A Michigan state senator suddenly has national attention. What was it about Mallory McMorrow's comments that left so many transfixed? Also, the Detroit Free Press Film Festival opens with a documentary on the Detroit bankruptcy. And don't mess with the Northern Guard. Detroit City FC pulls off a shocker against a Major League Soccer team. Today is Sunday, April 24th, 2022, and this is Flashpoint.
Hi, welcome to Flashpoint. It is good to have you with us this morning. It has been an eventful week on so many fronts, everything from the filing deadline for this year's elections to an electric win for the little soccer team that could. The Flashpoint family has been in on the Detroit City FC story since its very beginning, and this week they knocked off the Columbus Crew, a team that has won the MLS championship twice. We're going to talk about the win and what's next a little bit later on this morning. We're also going to talk with the director and producer of a documentary that kicks off the Detroit Free Press Film Festival this week. It's a film called Gradually, Then Suddenly, and it chronicles Detroit's historic trip into and out of bankruptcy. It's already won the Library of Congress Levine Ken Burns Prize for Film. Filmmaker Sam Katz sees not only an accounting, but a reckoning for other American cities in the film. And we're also going to start this morning with State Senator Mallory McMorrow. After finding herself described as someone who wanted to groom and sexualize kindergartners in a Republican fundraising email, she took to the Senate floor in Lansing and responded with remarks that have now been pinging around social media with millions of views ever since. And she's up first today on Flashpoint.
I am a straight, white, Christian, married, suburban mom who knows that the very notion that learning about slavery or redlining or systemic racism somehow means that children are being taught to feel bad or hate themselves because they are white is absolute nonsense.
That was State Senator Mallory McMorrow last week, lashing out at fellow Senator Lana Theis, the latest chapter in the fight over what we're teaching our children, but it's also become a lightning rod moment in the debates over so-called wokeness. I am very glad to have Senator McMorrow with me on Flashpoint. Senator, you've said you thought up those remarks while you were giving your daughter a bath. Can I assume the reaction that followed was not part of the plan you were thinking of?
It was not at all. I just wanted to very clearly say that what was said about me was unacceptable and what was said about everybody else with this language is unacceptable, but I did not anticipate the reaction at all.
Why do you think it has resonated so deeply and so far? It's gone all over the place, millions and millions of views.
Yeah, and we have been overwhelmed with emails and phone calls and messages from all over the state and country and world with people just sharing their own very, very personal stories and saying thank you from people all over and religious and Christian. And I think it resonated because it just said that this idea that we don't want to protect kids and these lies, it's nonsense. We want to create welcoming, inclusive, supportive communities. We are moms, we are family members, and it's all just a hateful distraction that doesn't focus on the real issues that impact people's lives.
There's a foundation in this beyond just that current argument that seems to go all the way back to this crazy QAnon theory that seems to suggest that at the heart of the Democratic Party is this cabal of pedophiles. That must still mystify you, just as it does me and many other watchers of the political process, that still has such power.
Well, and I think that was part of the reason that I wanted to respond so forcefully, because this is no longer a conspiracy theory in the darkest corners of the internet. It is being leveraged and weaponized by one of our major political parties, both nationally and here in the state of Michigan. And we saw what happens in DC when a gunman opened fire on a pizza place, thinking that there were pedophiles there with children in the basement. And that is what this language does and means. And this language is not okay. And it's being used to target vulnerable kids, and frankly, anybody who stands up beside them and says that it's not okay.
I did invite Senator Theis to be on the program today. We did not hear back from her office, but I want your take on her reaction to your remarks, because she basically said, look, you criticized me for fundraising, and then you turned around and you did the same thing and fundraised off the momentum of your speech. I guess she's basically saying, look, we're both playing on opposite sides of the same sandbox.
Well, first of all, it's not playing. And I did no active fundraising whatsoever. I didn't in my speech. I didn't in my Twitter thread. I didn't post a link. Certainly people found it. And others who support me and support the LGBTQ community shared it. But the idea that this is just for fundraising, I mean, this is not a game. This is our lives. This is people's lives. This is, if you are the mother of a trans child, this is life and death. And it's disgusting that she's doubling down.
If we set aside talk about pedophiles, for example, and we get down to the issue, there are a lot of parents, particularly conservative parents, who want matters of education when it comes down to sexuality and gender. They want that to be left to them and in their house, that they should be making the decisions about how their child looks at the world around them, rather than being left to a teacher or out of their hands. Do you have any sympathy for that viewpoint?
Well, this is creating an issue that doesn't exist. And my mom was very active in my school growing up. She was a homeroom mom. She came on field trips with us and did projects. And teachers also want a healthy relationship with parents. Be involved in your child's education so that teachers know what's going on at home, and so parents know what's going on in the classroom. That has never been an issue. And there isn't sex acts being taught to children. But a lot of this language is saying, you can't even just acknowledge that people exist in the world. Kids are going to meet people in the world and are going to have questions about them. But the reality is it's just a non-issue, and it's a hateful distraction from actual real issues that impact people.
Well, and you made it pretty clear in your 5 minutes of remarks there that you were not going to cede that ground to those who believe that they have the Christian territory carved out, because you consider yourself a Christian.
Absolutely. I was raised Catholic and very active in our church, and I went to the University of Notre Dame and did so because I believe in giving back and being a part of a community and in service and in understanding the teachings of faith. So to see Christianity weaponized as a means to justify targeting marginalized people, as a means to express hate, is completely unacceptable, and it's disgusting. And I think there's a lot more people like me who need to take our own identity back and say, this is not what is acceptable for people who believe in faith and service.
Senator, we are in a volatile election year. Most election years are volatile. This one seems a little more than most. Many are expecting it to be a tough year for Democrats, especially if you look at historically how these kinds of elections often work out. But those voters in the middle, I'm wondering if you're concerned that some of them are just tired of being beat up with what they feel is sort of political correctness that some believe is run a little too far.
Well, and I will be the first to say I'm not a Democratic strategist. I ran for office for the first time in 2018, but I live in our community. I talk to people every single day. And part of what I wanted to express in my speech is we have to acknowledge hate and lies and blunt them and then move on, right? Because that is just a distraction from the roads, schools, water quality, cost of healthcare, inflation, all of these things. And I am happy to work with any of my Republican colleagues on real solutions, but the fact is they don't have any, and they're just trying to rile you up and get you so angry. So that's what I think Democrats have to do, is point out that it's nonsense. So acknowledge very forcefully that hate is not okay, and it's distracting from issues. We can do both, and we have to do both at the same time.
You sound like you're working on becoming a strategist at least a little bit. You have to be once you get into the system, that's for sure. But Senator Mallory McMorrow, you've had a very, very busy week. I so appreciate you making time for us today. Thanks.
Devin, thanks so much.
You bet. We'll talk to you again soon, I hope. We'll take a quick break, back with more on Flashpoint right after this.
Michigan's best contemporary is at Telegraph and 12 Mile, and now at Gorman Southfield, save up to 50% off. That's limited time savings of up to 50% off all contemporary at Gorman Southfield, Telegraph and 12 Mile.
Trends come and go, but luxury is always in style. During National Kerosene Month, receive a rebate of up to $1,000 on timeless kerosene styles. Elevate your decor with sophisticated designs and remarkable quality, including carpets steeped in a century of kerosene craftsmanship, as well as kerosene's brand new luxury vinyl and elevated wood, offering beautiful wood look flooring that is better than nature intended. Don't miss your chance to live beautifully on kerosene, only at Independent Carpet One.
We were just spinning. We just didn't know what was going to happen next.
At Semasco Law, we deal with these issues every day, especially elder law. Pat went to work for Fran.
Patrick was there holding my hand, kept saying, "We'll get through this, we'll get through this."
He got her husband Medicaid and in a nursing home. Semasco Law got the success they deserved.
Semasco Law is definitely family to me. I really appreciate knowing all of you.
It's always more for less at Gorman's 3-day clearance center. That's more quality, more style, and up to 70% off best brands. Gorman's 3-day clearance center. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Learn more at gormans.com.
Lead is an issue in this country.
And she would know.
It's getting to be a point where it's really inexcusable.
That's the Aaron Brockovich. Monday morning at 6:30 on the anniversary of the infamous switchover in Flint. Help Me Hank gets advice for you from the world-renowned drinking water advocate.
She's showing us what you can do right now to find out if the water in your home is safe.
Monday on Local 4 News Today and streaming on Local 4 Plus. This Wednesday, the Detroit Free Press Film Festival opens with a documentary that has already brought in a big award, the Library of Congress Levine Ken Burns Prize. And what better venue than Detroit for a film about the largest municipal bankruptcy in U.S. history? The producer and co-director of Gradually, Then Suddenly is Sam Katz, who joins us now. Sam, it is really great to have you here. Can I assume you are pretty keen to see how your film plays in the city that serves as its epicenter?
A little anxious, I would say, Devin, but I'm really proud of this project, and I really think people in Detroit are going to love it, even if they didn't love the bankruptcy or if they were upset about the outcome. I think we gave voice to virtually every point of view, and it's really quite an impressive documentary, and I've been doing this for 14 years. This is certainly my best work.
Yeah, no one loved the bankruptcy, that's for sure. But I think we all remain still to this day stunned that the city went through it as quickly as it did, given the prognostications for how long we were going to be mired in this mess.
I think when you think about the illiquidity of a city, the insolvency of a city, the bankruptcy had no exit absent owning the Detroit Institute of Arts and its collection. And had that not been the case, or in connection with other cities that have similar fiscal problems to face, not owning a valuable asset is a real disadvantage to getting out of bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And it was only because of the DIA that the foundations came to the fore and the city was able to exit. I
have said many times that was kind of my conclusion. Detroit is the city that was saved by art. Everybody was so afraid that these pensions were going to go up in a puff of smoke. When they realized what had to be done to save the art, then the move was made that helped largely keep those pensions intact. I think it seems to me you've arrived at the same conclusion.
Well, I think the pensions are not intact. I mean, they're not as badly cut as they could have been.
Yes, that's a better way of putting it, right.
Losing cost of living increases in a moment of intense inflation is a real problem for the retirements of the city. The health care was not constitutionally guaranteed, but it was something people were counting on. Losing health care benefits was something that's pretty severe. So the pensioners of Detroit, as creditors, were every bit at risk and made significant sacrifices. And those sacrifices, I think, are stinging a lot of people today.
You're absolutely right. I should not make it sound like it was painless. It was simply only in relative terms, given what the outlook seemed to be at the beginning. When you look back, and you, there are a number of uses of reenactments, including the elegant piece that came together that we've come to know as the Grand Bargain. But before all of that, what do you think we can trace the actual, the real roots of Detroit's bankruptcy to?
Well, I think that's really embedded in the title of the film, gradually. And Detroit gradually, then suddenly went into bankruptcy. The gradually part is the deindustrialization of the automobile industry, its relocation outside of the city, the absence of a public transportation system to make urban residents accessible to jobs in the suburbs, the loss of revenue sharing, the decline of the American economy, the recession, all of those things, plus decision-making that was poor on the part of many of the city officials. It's really hard for an elected official to make the kinds of choices that you have to make to avoid the need to fiscally restructure your city, because you won't get reelected. And I understand that as someone who's tried to be elected in Philadelphia. It's really tough to make tough decisions, but American cities, and Detroit is not out of the woods by any means, need to face some of the realities without kicking the can down the road. This film and Detroit's experience shows what it looks like when you run out of road. And as I said before, if you don't own an art museum or something of valuable, and a valuable asset to sell, the effect on retirees, on city workers, and on basic services of the city would be devastating.
I think that's a really important point here, is that I believe you see Detroit as a canary here, that there are many other municipalities and government structures that face similar problems down the road.
I think we got to break a lot of cities because of, in the COVID environment, the Congress and the White House put a package together that included subsidies for states and local governments, and those subsidies run out at the end of fiscal 23. And Detroit had a 10-year tax abatement, or excuse me, a 10-year pension abatement, in which it did not have to make contributions to the pension fund. But beginning in fiscal 24, July 1st, 2023, there's going to be a nearly $300 million hit on the operating budget of the city to begin to amortize those pension liabilities. And that's going to be very painful for the city of Detroit.
Yeah, no doubt. Sam, we're really looking forward to this. Again, the film will debut, break open the film festival coming up on Wednesday, but starting a week from tonight, you're going to have a number of screenings that'll be around Southeast Michigan. They're all free, and we're going to try to link those for you here. You'll find them not only on the Free Press website, but we'll link them here on our website as well. Sam, really looking forward to it. I hope the reaction is terrific, and congratulations on a really important piece of work.
And thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it, and I hope your viewers get to see it, and I'll look forward to their reactions.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thanks so much, Sam. We'll be back with more. We'll talk about Detroit City FC. This is Flashpoint on Local 4.
One day, Sunday, it's a $100 million clearance sale at Gardner Wright. We're overstocked, so everything is price cut and marked down. The time to save more is Sunday, because you get an extra 25% off the lowest price. That's savings up to 80% store-wide. Plus, get 0% financing for 50 months and free same-day delivery. Spin to win prizes. Thousands of can't-be-beat deals on furniture and outdoor furniture. The $100 million clearance sale only at Gardner Wright. One day, Sunday.
Did you know that distracted driving is the leading cause of most car crashes in Michigan? Farm Bureau Insurance wants you to arrive safely wherever you're traveling in our great state. Let's band together against distracted driving.
Checkers is about to mix and match it up. Pick any 2 Checker burgers, chili dogs, spicy chicken, or crispy fish sandwiches for $4. Or mix and match 10 different ways. Add a small fry and 20-ounce drink for $2 more. Checkers mix and match deal. Pick any 2 for $4. Join Checkers Rewards for a free Big Buford or Mother Cruncher.
I didn't know I had a case.
I figured I could just take care of it later.
The hardest thing is telling someone you waited too long to pursue a claim.
But it happens all the time. Not knowing the legal system and the benefits you may be entitled to.
If you've been hurt, do something now. Call 855-75-EP-LAW, where winning is no accident.
When Help Me Hank steps in, expect more uncovering.
How would you like this in your neighborhood?
This community is full of children.
Expect more exposing.
We appreciate the work that you do, Hank, and helping us get this word out.
And expect more results.
Within hours, a crew from the city out here on this scene cleaning up this entire mess.
I thank you tremendously. You the man.
When Help Me Hank investigates, expect more.
Welcome back. What a week for Detroit soccer fans. Detroit City FC got its first opportunity ever to play against an MLS team, and they were clearly ready for the moment, knocking off the Columbus Crew to advance in the U.S. Open Cup, and they did it in the raucous confines of their home turf in Hamtramck. Now they'll move on to take on Louisville City May 10th, another home game for Le Rouge, and I'm so happy to have with us the co-owner of the team, Alex Wright, and the man who had the magic touch against Columbus, midfielder Maxi Rodriquez. Guys, thanks so much. Congratulations on the great week. And Maxi, let me start with you. Take me through those two goals and what that felt like to do it in that situation.
Yeah, so coming out of halftime, we were down 1-0, so it was really just about getting that first goal, and once I got it, it was a super special moment, and I think the team could feel it from there that we were going to go on and get a second one, and to get the second one myself again in such a high-pressure game and such a massive game for the club, it was a super special feeling for myself.
Yeah, really stunning stuff. Alex, kind of take me through what it was like for you to watch those moments as they happened.
Well, I've got the easy job, right? I just have this.
I don't know. Sometimes it's harder.
Sit up in the press box and you just wait for, you always feel good when we got these guys out there, what Trevor James has built, and Maxi's a massive part of that. It has been an absolute thrill to watch. So I just sit back in the press box. I know something great's going to happen. It's just a matter of figuring out how it's going to look.
And Alex, there's two different things, of course, going on here. There is what's happening with the team itself. There's also what's happening with soccer culture in Detroit. Your fans, the Northern Guard, and it is such an extraordinary scene that happens there for every game. Tell me a little bit about, because I can remember having, when you guys first launched as a team, we talked about it on Flashpoint. I can't imagine, or maybe you did see this day coming. Did you?
Yeah, it's like one of those overnight successes, 12 years in the making, right? Soccer's here to stay. It's one of the most popular sports for young people in this community. What we did was figure out a way to bring people's love for the game that has been growing with their passion about the city of Detroit, and more importantly, creating this game day environment. It's a soccer supporter culture. It's community based and grassroots. But I mean, Maxi will be the first one to tell you. At the end of the day, it's the edge that our guys have. They were playing one of the best teams in America on Tuesday, and they had 6,000 lunatics behind them, helping them every step of the way.
In fact, Maxi, talk about that a little bit. I think watching the faces of the Columbus players there, obviously they did not come in here expecting to get beat. But the crowd at Keyworth Stadium is right on top of the action. They kind of looked a little bewildered there at moments.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage that we have. I've talked to players that played against us, and they talk about how daunting of a task it is to play in front of those fans who are screaming at you from the first minute all the way to the end. And on the other side of it, it's a huge advantage for us. If we need a lift, they give us that lift, and they're constantly chanting for us, screaming for us, and it gives us that extra energy knowing that, hey, they're by our side no matter what, and we need to push and fight for them as well.
You knew Columbus didn't bring all of its best players with them. I guess there's two ways to take that. You can see this as well. We've got an opportunity here, but it's also a little bit insulting, isn't it, Maxi?
In a way, but I think as a player, you just got to focus on who we're playing against, who's on the field. At the end of the day, it's 11 on 11. Once you cross that line, it's about who wants it more. And and thankfully it worked in our favor.
It sure did. Alex, it was interesting reading the Columbus papers as they are doing some soul searching, trying to figure out what they're doing there. But we're not worried about what's going on in Columbus. We're worried about what happens next for Detroit. You've got the draw. You know that you've got another home game. This time it's Louisville City coming in. Give me a little bit about your expectations for what's coming up here in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, so to give folks some perspective, right, this is a national tournament. Yeah. Every soccer team in America is basically eligible to participate, and all of the pro teams have to participate. So we're up now to the round of 32. The bulk of the teams that are left are on the MLS level. So the highest level of American soccer, we're one level below that. But as you could see, from the outcome on Tuesday in this tournament, it's one game. You know, may the best team win. The game that we've got coming up against Louisville City is actually a team that's on our level as well. Right. So it'll be really interesting to see what kind of guys they bring, who they're starting, how they approach the match. You know, and, you know, like Maxi said, you just play whoever's out there, right? There is that interesting strategy that goes on behind the scenes, but at the end of the day, it's a Tuesday night. You try to pack the house and give people another unforgettable experience.
And Maxi, what's the approach then for the team? Do you try to tell yourself, wow, this is the biggest moment that most of us have ever had in American soccer, or do you try to keep it a lot cooler than that and somehow try to keep it as just another game?
Yeah, I think we just go in it like another game. Obviously, the moment is big, and it's a big moment for all of the players and the club, but you go in like a normal game and understanding that it's winner takes all. There's no tomorrow after the whistle blows, so give everything you have for those 90 minutes and hope your team's on top.
And Alex, I assume you expect your fans will be ready for a moment like this too.
Without a doubt. I mean, we're so privileged in many ways at Detroit City FC that, you know, this is a tough sports town, but it's a smart sports town, right? Folks know the game. They understand what's at stake, you know, and they know that their presence there not only makes a difference for the guys on the pitch, but they make a difference for this, you know, basically small business that's grown into this great story, and they contribute and benefit the organization in so many different ways just by being there and screaming their heads off.
Super. Well, the game is May 10th. Guys, best of luck to you, and we'll continue to follow this electrifying story all the way. Thanks so much for the time today.
Thank you.
You bet. And thank you so much for being here. Meet the Press is coming up next. Have a great week. We'll see you next time on Flashpoint.